Hello, hello! 0.5.3 has finally hit, so I will be going over the captain skills that I choose. I'm starting off with Mikhail Kutuzov, since, well, it's one of the ships that have gotten significantly buffed in this patch, as you can see by the rate of fire and range. Basically, it's gotten everything it usually got from captain perks, it's gotten for free. Significant changes in this for the captain perks is of course basic firing training, expert marksman, and advanced firing training, all being limited to 139mm, meaning they no longer affect a variety of ships like the Mogami, Marblehead, Cleveland, Mikhail Kutuzov, and so forth. So, first thing I take on this cruiser is obviously going to be situation awareness. I need to know if I'm detected or not. See, it's always good to check your turret traverse rate. 25 seconds, that is pretty bad. So that means my second perk is... Oh wait, no, never mind. Oh my god, I'm so stuck in my old habits. I was about to take expert. But actually, even with the short... it's actually no point taking anything else. I'm still going to be taking expert marksman on the ship for the first return traverse, because once again none of these other perks are worth it. Last stand is too situational on a cruiser. It might be worth it on lower tier cruisers, but something as high tier as the Kutuzov, you very rarely lose your engine or your rudder. So in the end, actually this is still the best one. So it's still going to be expert marksman for me. I wonder actually what the turret traverse on this is now. 22.8, that's not bad. Right, now we start getting to the more interesting things, or well, actually we would normally get to the more interesting things, except that we're on a Kutuzov, so superintendent is very much straightforward, since we want the smoke. And now we get to the choice of manual fire, 100% efficiency for the AA guns with a caliber exceeding 85mm. So obviously every time before you spec this, you always gotta check what's your anti-air caliber. Okay, this one would have these guns that would benefit greatly from that buff. These 100mm guns would benefit massively. So this is obviously an option, but considering the Kutuzov is quite rarely targeted by planes to begin with, because it's got such good anti-air, I'm just gonna go for the demolition expert, because I want that fire chance. This is a flat addition to your fire chance, as I mentioned before, so instead of having that 12% fire chance, you now have 15% fire chance, which means this will be a very scary ship. And the last captain perk I'm gonna be saving for a concealment expert, naturally, because I think it's one of the most important ones. In the past I would have gotten this already, but since once again it doesn't affect this ship anymore, there's no point getting it. Alright, moving on. Taiho. Well, I need to know if I'm detected. This skill is very useful for knowing if there's a DD or something approaching you, so very much worth it. Sorry, taking a sip of coffee. And minus 20%, this has been buffed from 10% to 20% servicing time of torpedo bombers. So this is just amazing. Definitively worth taking straight away. On this one, this is still very straightforward here. The repair is by far your best option. This one is so useless because you're almost always fighting the same tier carrier, so no point taking anything but high alert. Here we get to the either... Yeah, no, this isn't even once again a discussion. There's no discussion here. It's very straightforward. You want the aircraft servicing expert. Straightforward, very much the same as you used to take. And once again, there's no option here. What do you do? Like, seriously, you're not going to be fighting... Oh, yeah, you know, you're not going to be fighting like DDs close range. If you're in a situation where you need this skill, you're already basically failed. So once again, straightforward. You want air supremacy. So you get that additional bomber. And as the last point, ship survivability is a fantastic perk, since it reduces fire and flooding, the two types of skills or two types of debuffs, dots you will often be suffering from. So ship survivability is definitely something I'm going to be taking next. Let me quickly configure my Midway. Now that I know exactly what I'm taking, there's no point wasting time with this. Once again, there we go, Midway configured. So that's the carriers over with. Let's move on to something interesting then, the DDs. Well, the gearing, of course, because it's a DD and the guns are so small, it does benefit from all these perks you usually get. Of course, first, situation awareness. I value this perk highly. Second, you want last stand. Far too important to even discuss. The fact that it's 2 point now is amazing. Third pointer, honestly, superintendent. You want your smoke, you want your defensive AA. This is still quite straightforward. Smokes are so valuable for a gearing. Now it starts getting a bit interesting. Fire or HP. This technically this is 400 for each ship tier. So this is 4000 HP. So instead of having 19k, you'd have 23.4k. But ultimately, those 4k aren't going to help you that much, because the problem with the gearing isn't actually losing HP, it's the fact that you lose your turrets. So rather than hope that this 4k HP would save me, I'm just going to go for the straightforward option and give me a higher fire chance. Since now that I no longer need to waste 4 points on the last stand here, I can instead take the demolition expert, which is a bit of a nice actual buff for the gearing. And finally, concealment. This one has been buffed, so it makes it interesting, but on the gearing you simply need to get close enough to use the guns because the arcs are so nasty. So definitely concealment. You know how highly I value concealment. And now I got 1 point left, so I'm going to be putting it in secondary armament, because once again 10% reload to main battery guns up to 139mm, so this still affects gearing guns. So I get a nice damage buff. I'll be getting a new point soon, and I'll probably getting ship survivability with that one. That's the gearing done. Let's move on to the Shimakaze, the next DD in line. Once again, situation awareness, must have. Last stand, must have. Now it gets a bit interesting. Do I want another smoke? You don't really smoke as often on the Shima as you do on the gearing, because you usually use it as a defensive measure. Here it actually becomes quite interesting. Minus 20% to torpedo range, but 5% knots to torpedo speed. Now if you're using the stock torpedoes, like I am, the 20km ones, and then this would actually buff it to 72 knots, but the 20% decrease would mean 16km range. 72 knots is very fast though. I think at this point I am willing to try these out, just because these are, that 5% speed is, or not 5% but 5 knots is quite a significant speed increase. And how often do you really end up needing 4 smokes instead of 3? Yeah, in the end I'm actually, on the Shima I'm definitely going to try torpedo acceleration. Definitely going to try this out. And once again, here it's different than the gearing, because you don't use your guns enough to justify the use of demolition expert, and your torpedo tubes almost never break permanently. So here I actually see little reason not to take survivability expert on the Shimakaze, because as long as you have even 1 HP on your Shimakaze, you can still be extremely useful. So this 4k HP, buffing up my 17.9 to 21.9, yes please. I think this is an optimal skill for the... I actually like this patch because it gives you different upgrade options for each type of ship. And finally I take concealment expert. Naturally no discussion here regarding the DDs. Now I actually have 2 points. Now it gets a bit interesting. I'm going to need to check. You see that one of the problems here is the turret traverse rate is so bad on these guns. It's one of the main weaknesses on the Shima. But with 2 points, of course the 2 points I have, I'm gonna, no, fuck the turrets actually, what am I even talking about? I want the torpedoes, of course, 10% reload time. Nice, so 17 points is what you need to get this, what I consider an optimal Shimakaze build right now. The next point, honestly, I probably put it in secondary armament just to give it a bit of a buff to your guns. Alright, moving on to the Khabarovsk. This is what, here I have a maxed captain, of course, once again, situation awareness. Last stand. Smoke versus the new vigilance. Shit. Smoke versus the new vigilance. That's actually an interesting question. I think I'm gonna go with the smoke. I'm gonna go with the smoke. Actually, yes, I'm gonna go with the smoke because I already know my build path. And now you can get this is actually amazing. You can get AFT and last stand now. And instead of actually going concealment, here I'm gonna make a bit of a change. Once again, this is why I like this new patch. There are a lot of different. I'm using a different build on every single one of my DDs now. This one has been buffed to minus 50%, and for those who don't understand, this also reduces the chance of your turrets getting broken. So this is a 50% reduction to your turrets being broken. So I'm giving up my concealment skill simply because this buffed one is now finally worth using. I got 3 points left. Those 3 points I'm definitively gonna take basic firing training. Now let's see what's my 10.8 second 180 degree turn time. Okay, so that means there's not really much point in me taking this one. No, 10% reload is actually better than this. The reason now I want to explain why I took Superintendent is because now that I have less stealth, I instead want to smoke up from longer range, which I can now do because I have 5 smokes with the help of Superintendent. So I will be smoking up from longer range and bombarding them instead of trying to get close with the help of stealth. So this is a bit of a trade-off going this way. Of course, there's a possibility if you could go Vigilance and then take Concealment Expert, maybe. Like, that's probably a build option. But personally, I prefer this Preventive and Superintendent. At least so far, it looks the most interesting. Now these 2 points, considering I have last stand, so ship survivability is no longer as important. In the past I couldn't have last stand on the Khabarovsk. This is actually a pretty nice buff, this combined, that you can have both last stand, both advanced firing training, and this is a nice buff to the Khabarovsk playability. It's going to be a lot more fun to play now. I think I'm ultimately going to go for the torpedo reload. Yeah, definitely going to go for the torpedo reload. Because I don't really need this, because my turret traverse is already 10.8 seconds. That's plenty fast enough. There's no need to go for this. I'd rather go for the torpedoes at this point. Right, that was all the DDs over with. So let's move on to the cruisers. Let's start with the Des Moines. Once again, concealment and acquisition. Very straightforward. Turret traverse. There. No shit. Oh god, I'm still stuck in my old. Oh, I don't know actually. It's the same thing as the Mikhail Kutuzov here. Turret traverse is still the absolute best option. Turret traverse. You still get the buff, of course, the 0.7 degree per second, which isn't entirely bad. Still straightforward. You want your additional heal. Superintendent. So this far it's straightforward. Now it gets a bit interesting. In the past I used fire chance. But now there's this manual fire control. But the thing is, I still don't think it's worth it. I mean, your AA has already been buffed massively. Like, your AA is already nuts now. And I don't think any sane carrier is going to target you to begin with, since you already have defensive AA and you have your massively buffed defensive AA. So why would you get this at this point? Like, even better against planes, but I don't think you need to be even better because you already shred planes. So I'm still going to be going for the demolition expert build path. And finally, naturally, stealth, which is a must-have at T10 for cruisers, or well, any tier having stealth is just absolutely amazing. So definitely going to pick that up next. And now I got 3 points left. This is interesting. This one is no longer as strong. Oh Jesus, I have... Holy shit, do I actually have... My AA is 99 and I'm not even spec'd into AA. Yeah, no need to take this one then, since your AA is already nuts. Why overkill? So I got 3 points left. This is where it gets quite interesting. What exactly do I want with these 3 points? This one is no longer as strong. This one is quite great. Damn. Interesting. This is just not worth it since your AA is so good. This one is great, but none of the T2 perks are really worth it. I think I'm going to, for my full build, because considering I don't have... I'm actually going to go for Vigilance on my Des Moines, I think. Yes, I'm definitely going to try Vigilance on my Des Moines. Because considering that now you won't be running, there's no chance of really running Hydroacoustic, because you're such a massive anti-air fortress. So I think I'm going to take Vigilance against all the DDs. This will probably be the best option, I think. I think this will save me more HP ultimately than this one will. We shall see. Let's move on. Zao. Concealment. Straightforward. Turret Traverse. Straightforward. Superintendent for the additional heal. Very straightforward. Fire chance. Honestly, or... No, you still want fire chance though. I mean, sure, you could get the huge buff to this one with this manual fire control, but no. Still going to be... The only thing that has changed is that you're better against carriers, really. Like, why would you... Nah, I don't like it. I want the Demolition Expert. It's too strong on a Sao. Concealment, to be able to stealth fire, naturally. And now we are in the same interesting position again. This is such a good one, but this one is also such a good... They buffed this, which made it so much more interesting. I think I'm still gonna go for Vigilance on my max build. Just seems too good. That 25% extra time to react to torpedoes can be such a lifesaver. Like, especially when... Yeah, I'm gonna take it. The thing is, 25% chance to react to something like a Shima torpedo. Shima torpedoes is half your HP gone. So being able to react, especially now that they're probably running the increased speed, I think this will be better. Hindenburg. Confirmation. Straightforward. Last stand for the heal. Straightforward. Okay, now let's see. My AA is 84. Good lord. My AA is absolutely nuts already. Like, is there anyone who's going to attack a Hindenburg with the CV after this patch? It's unlikely, but this gives 11. No, actually, on the Hindenburg, you never use HE. So, at 100% to 85mm, let's see. You only have one that goes over. You only actually have one that goes over. So this one would be buffed. That's the only one. This is the only one that would go over with the use of that perk. So you'd be 266 DPS on this one. But all these others... actually, it's only this one that's a real damage dealer. 1 kilometer to this one, or more DPM to that one. I guess in the end this one gives you more effectiveness than this one. No. I think in the end... Fuck, this isn't an easy one. 20% range. Oh, it's 20% range, yeah, so it'll give you one... Let me check that once more. It'll give you 1 kilometer extra on this one, 0.9 kilometers on this one, and these ones aren't really worth discussing, they do so little damage. Longer range versus one guy buffed. I think ultimately I will go for the range. Because I only have one gun that benefits. This benefits multiple guns. Yeah, we're gonna go for this one in the end. Once again, concealment. Now I have 1 point left at this point. Yeah, no point going for that one. Definitely gonna go for basic survivability here. First of all, I find it highly unlikely anyone will even focus me, hence why I prefer to take the range. Because it will make me easier to help other ships. That's why I went for the range on the anti-air instead of that focus one. Because I think I will be more useful to the fleet around me. Because I doubt the carrier is gonna focus a Hindenburg. I find it highly unlikely. Right, Yamato. Interesting, interesting. Once again, I like to know when I'm detected. Highly important. Turret traverse. Highly important on Yamato. So, incredibly sluggish, excuse me. Superintendent for the heal, yeah. Especially now that it's gotten nerfed. Which was much needed, by the way. This one is... Now, fuck, this is hard. Let's see, what's the anti-air like? Oh shit, it's got so much of these big guns. So you could buff both these big guns. But... do you really want to buff both those big guns? When you could buff your secondaries and buff the anti-air range. I think I'm gonna take this one because ultimately I still want to get this one. Yeah, I think because the secondaries on the ship are so nuts. So I'm gonna take this. This buffs both my secondaries and my AA. And then I take manual control. Because my secondaries now have... my secondary armament now has 8.4 kilometer range. Which is actually quite fucking nuts. So at 8.4 kilometers, this is like without any buffs to buff this, I'll already be able to wreck ships with my secondaries. So this is probably worth it. I got 2 points. Yeah, I think these last 2 points, I'll just put one here and... oh, buff my secondaries and my anti-air a bit more. Let's see, secondaries. 13.3 rounds a minute, 11.11 rounds a minute at 8.4, and my anti-air is still 84, so it's not like my anti-air is bad with this build. I think this is the most interesting build here. If I get another point, I don't know, might be go for a 3rd point perk if you get a 3rd point. We'll see. This is interesting. Montana. Concealment acquisition. This one has much shitter secondaries if I remember. 5 kilometer range. They do have a high fire chance with a lot of rounds per minute though. Let's get turret traverse. Additional heal. How is my anti? Can you fuck off? 127. Whoa. Let's see, what are the range? 2.4, 4.2, 2.4, fuck. Yeah, these are 157, damn. Damn! That made it a lot harder. Do you even want to go for the secondary perk on the Montana? Let's see, the secondary range is so garbage in comparison. Damn it, I feel like Montana is getting the shaft again. But fuck me, that one would be so good though. Actually though, I have 9 points. Why not go for both Oh, I can probably make myself... Oh, this is actually interesting. Let's see if... None of these are worth taking except... Or manual fires. Shit, never mind. I want... But do I want manual fire? The secondaries are honestly so garbage on this ship. I'd rather actually... I think you can actually make yourself into a pretty nasty anti-air fortress now. Instead of getting the manual fire control. Because honestly your anti-air is sad. It's real fucking sad. 5 kilometers. If you're within 5 kilometers you don't... Yeah. But then on the other hand, I think you can make yourself into a really nasty anti-air machine. I'm actually gonna... This needs testing. I'm going for 2 4-point skills. And finally... Holy shit, like... So if I focus fire now with these, I got 7.5 kilometer range and I'll do over 300 DPS per second with these. And even this one has 5.1 kilometer range. Like this I'm past 100, that's how much anti-air rating I have. This might actually make the Montana actually work as an anti-air fortress. Like literally make it almost immune to carriers, I think. Well, not immune, but extremely hard to target. This definitely requires testing. Anyway, that was my last ship, T10 ship worth note. All of this will obviously require testing, and I will post updates if I change something. But so far, a lot of these builds look very interesting, and I'm honestly looking forward to testing them all and seeing how I feel about my choices. So far, I'm actually liking this patch a lot. It feels like a lot of DD buffs and stuff, which is very interesting. Especially gunboat DD buffs. Although I guess the Shima gets a HP chunk as well, so... we'll see. This will be interesting. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys later.